everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about whether or not Gen X men should be more emotional, displaying emotion and that kind of thing. And for me, it's a pretty cut and dried, simple answer. But for a lot of people, it's not. They just don't understand. So I'm going to go into it here and explain what I can about why we are the way we are. It might open a couple eyes, I guess, help people understand us a little better. But this whole thing about being over emotional and expressing your emotions to other people and all this stuff, honestly, I don't even understand it. I don't even understand that side of it. It's like telling an elephant that it should fly, or a duck that it should eat leaves with its trunk or something like that. It's completely foreign. I don't understand it. It's just not a concept that I've ever even entertained until it started, other people started telling me, requesting that of me and stuff like that. The number one reason we are not like that is just the common sense knowledge that nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. Nobody cares what you feel. Nobody cares what you're going through. Nobody gives a shit. And as soon as you learn that, you're happier, you're better off. I know nobody gives a shit about what I'm feeling. It's a fact. People act like they give a shit. Don't get me wrong. People act like they care. They pretend to care. They'll, what is it now, that social credit that they get for caring online. If you honestly put those people in a position to fix the thing they care about, if they had to sacrifice, if you take one of those young girls young, attractive girl, and she's, telling you how horrible it is to call someone fat, right? But if you tell her, hey, if you go, you can fix that. No one will ever be called fat again, but you just have to give up your long fingernails and your $300 blouse and go live under a bridge for a year. And when you come out from under that bridge, begging for your food and stuff after a year, no one will ever be called fat again. That's 100% guaranteed. How many of those young women do you think would do that? Young guys, young people. How many do you think would do that? Zero, most likely, maybe one or two, because they honestly really don't give a shit. They pretend to give a shit because, that's the thing to do now. They pretend to care about other people. But when you put them down and draw a line and say, okay, you have to sacrifice to implement these changes that you care so much about. No, no, I'd rather not. No, I just like typing online in all caps and doing that kind of stuff. So, in actuality, people don't give a shit, all right? We know this. Gen X dudes know this. Nobody gives a shit. Even if they want to, even if they think they do. Once they start hearing what's actually on your mind and what's actually bothering you, they learn quickly that they don't give a shit. They start wishing that they hadn't opened their mouths and asked you and forced you to say it. You know what I'm saying? They really don't. They don't want to hear it. They think they're supposed to want to hear it. That's what it is. So they think they're doing the right thing, when the right thing is just leave us alone. All right. We don't need to unload. We don't need to express ourselves. We need to be left alone. Another thing is that Gen X men realize that we are a shield for our families and even our friends, good close friends. We're a shield. We're supposed to protect them from the world, not unload our garbage onto them and make them carry the weight with us. We carry the weight for them. To be an emotional asshole and constantly be shitting out all these emotions is just not us. It's not good for your kids, your wife, anybody in your life to be constantly emoting all the time and forcing them to worry about all the shit that you're worried about. I got this. You don't need to worry about it. I'm worrying about it. It doesn't help in any way to have more people worried. Let me do the worrying. So In that way, we're a shield. We're not supposed to be the ammunition inflicting more stress and worry upon our families. So we just keep our mouths shut and do what needs to be done and wake up another day and do it again. And we're fine with that. We've got no problem with that. It's the world that has a problem with it, and it's completely ridiculous because they don't know what they're asking for. They think they want it, but they don't. And even if they get you to start doing something, then they just want you to shut up. When you start doing that, when you finally, they wear you down and you finally start all this emoting, they want you to shut up. They don't want to hear it anymore. Or you say something that upsets them, and then they really want you to shut up. They don't really want to know how you feel. They just want to care. It's not always bad. They want to care. Your family and your friends, your close friends, and then they're trying to help the only way they know how. They just don't understand. They don't have our brains. They weren't raised the way we were raised. They just don't get it. Another thing is, I don't know what it is, but we just don't process and deal with feelings the way, I guess, women do, and the younger generations now, I guess, younger men do. I don't know. Start off like that. I don't know how women and younger men and I don't know how they process feelings and all that stuff. I have no idea. And that's where I think a lot of the confusion comes in, because they think they know how we do. They think they understand. And they can't just admit, I don't know, so I'll leave you alone. So there's part of the struggle right there. They can't just say that, I don't know. You're completely different from me. I have no idea what you're going through. I have no idea how you process information and feelings and stuff, so I'm just going to stay away. Whatever. So let me start that off by saying I have no idea how they do it. But for a man who's grown up in an era where it was still considered proper for a man to be strong, to shield his family from the outside world, to internalize, to not show emotion, right? I mean, even as kids, we were, your buddies would make fun of you if you cried or showed emotion. You know what I'm saying? So even then, as far back as I can remember, that's just the way it is. And when you grow up in that culture, just like these young kids growing up in this culture now, I just think personally, on a personal level, I think that our culture was the correct way. So whatever. But the way we process and deal with emotions is completely different than people think. Because I'll deal with an emotion, work it through logically in my head. I might get upset for a few minutes, or, in a day. I might be upset about a problem for a week, but I'll only deal with it for a few minutes every day. I don't sit there and constantly dwell on it. Now, other guys might be different than me, but I look at that stuff logically. And try to deal with it logically, and try to figure out a logical plan of action to deal with this stuff. I don't tend to get these overwhelming feelings for this stuff, except for like freedom and ideals like that. You know what I mean? Love for my wife, stuff like that. Real things. But all these day-to-day things, the bills, traffic, crap like that, somebody called me a bad name, somebody was a jerk to me, that stuff's out of my head quickly. I don't dwell on that stuff. I process it and move on to the next one. But someone might catch me while I'm irritated for a few minutes and think that, something is really wrong with me. But we tend, I think, from my experience, we tend to deal with emotions from a logical perspective, not from an emotional perspective. We don't We don't let the emotions envelop us and that become our entire situation in that moment. Even when I'm upset, I'm logical about it and trying to figure out how to deal with it, not just jumping into an emotional, thunderstorm or whatever. So that's different too. Something I might have been thinking about and worried about yesterday, I've already resolved it in my mind, and I'm not worried about it today. So if you wait a couple days to ask me about it, shit, I don't care. That's in the past. I've already worked through that shit. I'm done with it. I don't want to bring it up. Now you're just reminding me about shit that I don't need to be upset about anymore. I've worked through it. I've processed it. So to bring the shit up again is just irritating. I don't want to deal with the shit again. I've already dealt with it. That kind of thing. Back to the way we were raised, we just equate that with masculinity, toughness, strength. That's how we see it. I mean, we're not trying to be masculine or tough or strong, but when you see someone sucking it up and driving it, you have respect for them. That dude just went through some terrible shit, but he's back to work. He's still taking care of his business. He's still taking care of his family, and look what just happened to him. You got to respect that guy. You have to, and you can't help but disrespect some grown-ass man who's sitting there on his mom's couch playing, Call of Duty, screaming obscenities into a mic and getting all upset over somebody who made a remark about his purple hair or whatever. You know what I mean? You can't help but disrespect someone like that. It's the way it is. It's not strong in any way. It's weak and pathetic. So I'll wrap this up by saying that we're not all emotional, gushing emotions because we don't want to be. It doesn't make life any easier. All of you, everybody who gushes emotions and stuff everywhere, are they happier for that? Are they? Has it made their lives 1,000 times better than strong men who deal with their emotions on a logical level and keep them in? No. All these blue-haired people out there and purple hair and the nose rings and all this stuff who are super hyper emotional and so caring and all this, they're all miserable. They are miserable. So what's the point? What's the point in all this emoting? What's the point in all these displays of sadness and caring and all this stuff? When Gen X dudes can just be honest with each other. I don't give a shit, dude. Tell that shit to somebody else, man. I got shit to do, man. Come on. I want to hear that shit. My line is still dry. I'm trying to get to the water so I can catch a fish. And I'm sitting here listening to yours. You better shut up. And that's how we are. I don't want to hear that shit. At least we're honest about it because nobody wants to hear that shit. Nobody. But everybody else is fraudulent and pretends that they do. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to become a member of Gen X Thinks, I'll leave that link down in the description, or you can join up over on the channel page. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by hopping over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate those of you who do that. Thank you very much, and I'll leave that link down in the description. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we've got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. T-shirts, sweatshirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. And if you're interested in that, I'll leave that link down in the description as well. Another way you can support the channel is by clicking on that super thanks button down there. And that makes it quick and easy. I appreciate those of you who do that. Thank you very much. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much for those of you who do that. I really appreciate that. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us in the emails over on the channel page. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.